Right now in San Antonio, almost 1 in 4 houses is taking a price cut, but at the exact same time, you've got houses that are listing and going under contract within the first couple days of being on the market. So what is going on exactly in the San Antonio housing market? In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 types of homes that are not selling and the 5 types that are super hot still. So when it comes to San Antonio, we are very heavy on the single family residential neighborhoods. There are not that many condos, and condos are not super popular around San Antonio, and it also includes the stuff that's kind of downtown. Overall, looking at homes in downtown San Antonio, you're looking at 175 days on market on average before a home is going under contract. That is extremely high, nearly double what it is throughout the rest of the city for other neighborhoods. Condo listings specifically are up 21% year over year, while single family homes are only up 5%. You've also got some things where lending on condos has gotten a little bit tighter overall, and just the simple fact that people don't want to pay all these HOA dues anymore and deal with the hassle of paying, a few $100s a month for, a $200,000 condo that you're, normally would have been paying, $1,500 a month total, and you're adding $300, $400 a month in HOA dues on top of that. Now, of course, if you're a buyer and looking for something that is a low maintenance to no maintenance type of situation, and you want to find one of these condo units, you've got a lot of leverage as a buyer right now. It is a very heavy buyer's market, and as a seller, you just have to know that if you're looking at selling a property right now, know that with those condos and those homes that are kind of closer into downtown, it's going to take a little bit longer to sell than most of the rest of the city. Now the next one, if you're a buyer, think about this, okay? If you are looking at a neighborhood, say on the outer edges of San Antonio, let's say the far west side, you're looking at brand spanking new homes, tons of them out there. You see this one beautiful house. It's listed for $450,000. Seems like a really good deal. It's a good builder. They've got some really good incentives. They're offering $35,000 to go towards either closing costs, interest rate. They're giving you a new refrigerator, a new washer and dryer. You again get a house that nobody else has lived in, or you look at a resale home that's listed at $420,000, $30,000 less, but you don't get any of those incentives. In the vast majority of cases, people will choose that new home versus that resale home. So those resale homes that are, say, 2 to 5 years old, that are in neighborhoods where they are still building a lot of new construction houses, you've got a challenge ahead of you. And in most cases, especially if you're trying to sell a home that is less than 3 years old, you are going to really struggle whenever it comes to competing with those new construction homes. And on top of that, there just hasn't been the equity growth, and you do pay a premium on that price for getting into a new construction home, and a lot of times you are in negative equity situations if you didn't put a lot of money down. And the proof is in the numbers, not even counting some of the more heavy suburb areas that have a lot of new construction like New Braunfels and even Bernie. San Antonio specifically has had over 6,000 new home sales in the last year, and at only 2,300 current active listings, there is a heavy demand for those new construction houses, and you can see why it makes things so difficult on those homes that are kind of new, barely lived in homes, competing with the new construction homes because of those crazy incentives that they're offering. I mean, like I mentioned, those incentives can range from $10,000 all the way up to $50,000+. Now, whether you're looking at trying to sell in San Antonio, or whether you're looking at possibly buying one of these new construction homes, or any of the homes that we're talking about today, reach out to us at the Life and SATX Home Group. My name is Michael McCall. I run this small group of individuals that loves working with people just like you. So whether you're looking at moving here in 2 days or 2 years, call, text, or email us anytime, days, nights, or weekends, guys. We would love to be a resource for you guys and help you kind of figure out this whole process of moving to San Antonio. Or, if you do need to sell, I mean, obviously we help people do that every day as well. So reach out to us and we can kind of work through those specifics and get you guys set up on whatever it is that you need, and make sure that you're making the right decision moving to San Antonio, and we can be the guide for you whenever it comes to all of that. Quite honestly, one of the hardest homes to sell are those homes that were built in like the 90s or early 2000s and have had nothing done to them. Okay, so if you walk into a house, carpet is just old and musty, maybe it's got some stains on it, it's got the old tile, grout is real dirty, yellow oak cabinets, Formica countertops. no updated fixtures, popcorn ceilings in some cases. I mean, those homes are really, really difficult to get people to envision. There's nothing unique about them at all. They're very plain, they're very boring for a lot of people, and they don't want to take on the hassle of trying to update them. And there's too many other options for them to look at. When you're already paying a lot of money for a house as it is, with the high interest rates and the high prices, since prices have gone up over the last 6 to 7 years, the things have just the days of people being able to buy an older house like this and be comfortable, okay, I'm gonna get super low payment and then I'll be able to update it as I get the cash to be able to do it. They're not looking for that anymore. They're looking for turnkey houses with at least the bare minimum and updating done. Maybe not necessarily full-blown upgrades, but updates. Now, this next category might surprise you a little bit, but San Antonio's most luxurious properties are typically sitting on the market a while right now. Even those homes that are well maintained, beautiful lots, those homes that are over $1 million are taking just a lot longer to sell. And it's not every single property, but it is a much more limited buyer pool in this current market. In San Antonio, when you look at the luxury price point, the technical luxury price point, you're looking at basically double the median price. So you're at around $650,000 or so once you get into the true luxury market of San Antonio. So that's actually a pretty low price, because I know a lot of you guys coming from different parts of the country, like $600,000 is like a basic house where y'all are at. But here, once you get kind of up over that $1 million price point, is where the buyer pool really starts to get a little bit more limited. The homes that are being listed that may have been, owned by those owners for decades, and they've been well maintained, sometimes even updated, they're sitting just a little bit longer. Now, the unique situations that come into play are the ones that are incredibly well updated. Those homes built in the 70s and 80s that have been completely renovated, that look brand spanking new. Those homes have a lot of people that are just sitting and waiting for them to come on the market. So if that is you, if that is your house, think about that when you're getting ready to list it. You're going to have a lot of interest very, very quickly, because a lot of the folks in this price point don't have to buy right now. They're looking for the perfect property, and so they're sitting and waiting for it to come on the market. They don't want something that's a project anymore. They want to get rid of their project home and move into a completely turnkey property. And so that is something that is really driving a lot of those quick kind of first weekend sales in this luxury price point. Now, this last category of what we're calling the cold homes here, before we get into the list of the hottest homes in the market right now, is something that might be pretty obvious for you guys. It's those homes that are true fixtures with no real return on the very high cost of things that need to be done. Those are homes that need new roofs, have to have foundation work done, and just overall have major system issues with the house, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical, those types of things. San Antonio as a whole, as a lot of you guys know, we don't get the tornadoes, we don't get the major weather that you see up north, we don't get the hurricanes that you see down by the coast. We're further enough inland, so our biggest weather issue that we get is hailstorms. And so those hailstorms can come through and really damage roofs. So if you have a roof on a house that is 20 plus years old, there's a very, very decent chance that it's got some kind of wind damage, hail damage. Just overall, it is ready to go and needs to be replaced. There's lots of insurance carriers out there that won't even insure homes with roofs, not homes necessarily, but they won't insure the roofs themselves that are over 10 to 15 years old, or they just carry the very, very bare minimum and require quite a high deductible on those. So it makes things very challenging. And if you're going in and looking at buying a house, you do have to think about that as well. Make sure you talk to your insurance provider to see what the exact specifics are on any of these older homes that you're looking at. But when we're talking about shingle roofs specifically, because those things have typically a 15 to 20 year lifespan, those are the ones that we're having most concerns with. Now, the big one, of course, is the foundation problems. This is the scariest thing. Everybody that calls, they don't want anything that has any foundation problems, and most people don't. It is a very, very big deal and can go from, okay, it could be a $5,000 to $10,000 problem to a $30,000 to $40,000 problem really quick on a house that is maybe $250,000. It doesn't really matter the size of the home, although it does, but the overall cost of the home doesn't make a difference on how expensive that is. On roofs, you can get cheaper roofs, you can get expensive roofs. There's kind of ranges on these. The foundations themselves, if you've got a truly failed foundation, you're going to be looking at that $30,000 to $40,000 price tag, because once you get those foundations repaired, you may have plumbing issues. Now you got to get them to tunnel under the foundation and fix plumbing leaks. I mean, there's so many things involved whenever it comes to foundations that have failed. It is a big issue, and it's a big problem here in San Antonio. I talk about this a lot. That east side is kind of the worst area for it. You talk about that inner east side, Alamo Heights, Terrell Hills is pretty rough, so you do have to look at those older homes. A lot of those homes in those areas, if they haven't had foundation work done, I would be very surprised. A lot of those homes in that area have already had to have a lot of work done, and if they haven't, they probably need it. Now, when we're talking about some of the hottest homes in San Antonio, let's talk about the 5 hottest. And this is all from my experience and our team's experience and what we're kind of seeing throughout the area. Now, the first one that I want to hit on are those kind of move-in ready, like slightly updated, but most importantly, the location is prime, very close to those military bases. Obviously, San Antonio is Military City, USA. So the closer that you get to the base, the more appealing it is to a lot of those folks that are commuting to the bases. And especially if it's in a high-end neighborhood, high-quality neighborhood, good community, those are very important. Now, you got variety of different properties. You can look at new construction. Those homes around the bases are selling pretty good. And then you also look at kind of some of the higher end, what I would say resale homes. So the ones basically within 30 minutes. So those homes that are kind of in that general area around Randolph, around Lackland, those are the ones that typically are selling, a little bit better. And these are the ones that are kind of turnkey, like I said, and they have to be priced correctly. So that's a big thing as well. If they're not testing the market, if they're priced where they need to be, you've got a lot of buyer pool coming in from military, especially here in the summer with the PCS moves happening all across the country. So you get a lot more activity in those areas around this time of year. Another big thing to look for as a military buyer, if that is you, if you have your VA eligibility and you've got some cash that you can put down, looking at some of these areas and for homes that are maybe newer, 3, 4, 5 years old, that have assumable loans, you can get those crazy good interest rates. Maybe you've got $50,000 to $100,000 you can put down on that house. You can get that 2.5% interest rate, 3% interest rate that some of these home sellers have, and you're able to basically pay the difference in the equity from what they're selling the house for to what they owe on the house, and you take over those payments with that super low interest rate. It is a game changer when it comes to affordability if you've got the cash to be able to put down. So when it comes to affordability, that's what San Antonio is known for, right? So those homes that are kind of $250,000 to $400,000 ranges and have been very well updated, those homes I've been seeing have been selling in the first weekend almost across the board. Now, you get those properties that have the cheap flips, as I call them, just cosmetic, lipstick on a pig type of situation, and they weren't done well. You've got to have good contractors when you're doing flips, but there's a lot of these properties out there that are again getting multiple offers at that 300 to 350,000. I mean, and looking at that 250, really probably upwards of 500,000 if we're kind of looking on the upper end. If it's been updated incredibly well, if it's got a nice pool, which if you're a home seller, you're not going to get that full price of what you paid for that pool out of it, but it is going to definitely increase the buyer pool for you and help you sell that house a lot more quickly. But overall, those homes are selling in a lot of times less than a week. Okay, it is very indicative of the fact that people are looking for homes that are move-in ready. They don't have to do a thing to them. Kind of on that same note, we talked about some of these luxury areas, right? And I mentioned this briefly, but when you're looking at some of these in-town areas, Chavano Park, Hill Country Village, Alamo Heights, Olmos Park, Terrell Hills, even looking at, maybe some of those places like Coldest and the Dominion that have some slightly older homes in them, those homes that are completely updated and turnkey ready to go with very new and high quality finishes, those homes are also selling very quickly. Now, a lot of times the ones that sell the best are the ones that the people renovated for them to live in, and so those are the properties that you may have put a lot of money into that house and you may not necessarily get all of it back out of it, but it is not going to be a situation where you're sitting on the market forever. And if you're in a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of those, if it's neighborhoods that were built in the 60s to 80s and there's just a lot of older dated properties, and you can list that property that has been completely renovated and is turnkey ready to go, it may hurt you to sell it, but if it's something you just have to do, and if it's just that time in life to where you really need to make that move, these properties are selling incredibly quickly because there are a lot of people just sitting on the sidelines waiting for exactly what you have to be able to find it and move on it, and they've got the cash ready to go, and a lot of times they'll be cash buyers for those types of properties too. So we're talking the kind of higher end luxury price point 800,000 plus. Those homes that are in those most well-established luxury neighborhoods in San Antonio that are updated are incredibly popular. So the next one's kind of interesting. So whenever it comes to properties that are what I would consider in that kind of mid-range price point, they're not luxury necessarily, but they're not, definitely not what I would consider more affordable homes. San Antonio is known for its affordability, like I've mentioned. These homes that are in the what I would consider $400,000 to like $700,000 range are homes that, if they are very well kept, they're in areas with good school districts. They're in areas that are growing in popularity, have good space, not just stacked tight on top of each other with one neighbor right very close to the next. And they're in neighborhoods with good amenities. There's a lot of things that can really drive these home sales up for these types of properties. But what I've seen is that these buyers that are looking in that $400,000 to $700,000 range are not as affected by the interest rates as most others would. Now they definitely are, and it would keep them, this is keeping them from going up to that, $800,000 to $1 million price point. But because San Antonio is so affordable, those $400,000 to $700,000 homes are still very high-end luxury homes in a lot of situations, especially compared to a lot of other parts of the country. So they're open to looking at these types of properties because it's still way better than they would have gotten somewhere else. And so these homes are still selling relatively quickly for the ones that are, one, priced the way they should be, and just check the boxes, right? Open floor plan, good sized kitchen, multiple, bedrooms downstairs, right? Dedicated office space, good sized yard. There's lots of things that go into it, but those homes specifically are selling literally within days. Those homes that are turnkey, ready to go, don't even have to be updated, just well maintained, and in that kind of $400,000 to $700,000 price point, really and truly are selling very quickly. Now, as with everybody on this last point, we've all been stressed by the lack of affordability when it comes to housing. Housing prices have gone through the roof. Now, that is benefiting those people that have stayed in their home for 20 to 30, 40 years, right? They've got tons of equity in that home. They can turn around and sell that property, downsize into a smaller home, pay cash for it, don't have to worry about the interest rates. Those single-family homes, those single-story single-family homes that are in that kind of key retiree locations, closer to the medical center, or have a little bit more space, maybe a little bit more privacy, right? Some of those areas like up in Bernie, Boulevardy, Spring Branch, Timberwood Park up north of Stone Oak, even in Stone Oak specifically, being close to the medical centers up there as well. New Braunfels being close to, say, Green, downtown New Braunfels, more things to do. A lot of folks that are retiring are wanting to be closer to these places for obvious reasons. Again, medical facilities is very important, but just having a lot of things to do is also incredibly important. So having those single-story homes, whether they're affordable, sub $300,000, or they're $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 homes, these folks that are selling much larger homes and then able to take all that cash and put it straight into paying cash for their new property that are downsizing to, kids have all moved out, they're ready to just have something that's a little bit easier to maintain. Those homes are the ones that are also moving pretty well. All that said, there is a very clear indicator across the board with certain properties, whether or not a buyer is in charge or a seller is in charge. And so these things are very specific with our San Antonio market. Now, if you want a very clear direction on where you should go in making your next purchase or home sale whenever it comes to San Antonio, reach out to us, the Life and SATX Home Group. All my information is down in that description below, guys. Reach out to us at any point in time. We would love to have a conversation with you guys. Again, whether you're looking at moving in 2 days or 2 years, let's help you plan for the future in these situations. And if you are comparing San Antonio and Austin, take a look at this video right here, which stacks up the differences between the two and it really helps you determine which one is going to be the best fit for you so that you can make the best decision for your move. And until the next one, guys, we'll see you there.